Greetings Autobots, and welcome back to Autobot ASMR's Transformers Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at Movie 1 Longarm. I figured I might trim down my intro as the whole spiel of me going into, oh, this is a figure, blah blah blah, it just kind of gets a bit repetitive, so I'll mix things up for this intro. We have Movie 1 Longarm, a drone character prominently featured in the 2007 tie-in game Transformers the Game, which you may or may not have seen, but I have actually played on the channel before. And this character was a figure I had since I was a kid, though I probably never actually successfully transformed it once in my life because I lacked the patience, coordination, and I was a stupid 8-year-old. But after finding him on eBay for a good price, I decided to pick him up, and I've been missing out on a pretty fun little figure. He has one major flaw, but it's not something that really ruins the figure for me. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Now, for you eagle-eyed viewers, you'll actually notice this vehicle is near a perfect replication of the Mike's towing truck that Michaela used in the final battle of the first Transformers movie, as this is pretty much the exact same truck, only with a few different things here and there. There's not as many stamp or typograph stickers and detailing, and this said Mike's towing in the movie, though as you can see here it says Orson's towing. Now this could be a reference to Orson Welles, who voiced Unicron in the Transformers 1986 movie, or it could be a completely different reference, but either way it's a pretty neat little bit of detailing and a cool reference. The tow truck itself has a really nice colour palette. It's distinct. It's this clear vanilla white broken up with these jet black streaks and this comic book action impact sort of stripes. It almost kind of looks like waves. But you know what? It does. It looks like little drops of water. And it gives the truck mode a really cool presence. It feels bulky, and it looks bulky too. It's very wide, especially for the front. This is one big chunky trunk. But it's a really cool looking alt mode. You've got a little clear light bar here at the top. You've got this nice silver grating. I'm not too sure what this texture is, but I've seen it before. It's like this steel grating texture. And you've even got a little hook, which you can actually hook on to other Transformers and have Longarm tow them along, which is pretty cool. Adds a little bit of play factor to this guy, while also, and that's one thing I'll say about this. This figure feels like he's got a lot of cool features. Not only is his vehicle mode something that you can factor in with other Transformers by recreating scenes from the movie where you have him, say, towing them. In fact, I actually have Jazz, and you could have him sort of sat like this. Granted, he doesn't really fit the toe, so you kind of have to push Jazz along as well, but oh no, you can actually do it if you angle it right. So you can have Longarm helping out his fellow Autobots in battle, pulling friends out of a ditch, or assisting in robot mode during a particularly devilish battle. Now, Longarm's transformation is simple, but it has some really unique steps here and there that make it quite fun. So first what you're going to want to do is just swing this around. Now, I will say, would you guys like to see, or like me to not narrate the steps during transformations, as it might get a bit repetitive? So I don't know, let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and yeah, I'll see if I can incorporate it, though I do have my time to transform videos which I might do more of. But what you're going to want to do is just collapse the crane, flip in this little light bar by pinching it together, open these black bumper sections, take the Orson's towing door panels and just unpeg them from these little tabs here and bring them up the way. Bring these panels around and then collapse the bumper piece in the way. Just wiggle that out, bring that down, Now you're going to want to take the whole front bumper and just pull this open, and then just pull at the knees so you can extend his legs. Now Longarm's legs are actually quite unique in how they're engineered. What you're going to want to do is just split them first of all, and you're going to want to bring this front panel down, and then this whole heel section you can just bring back, and this actual foot you can collapse in to make it a bit less clown shoe-esque. And then do the same on the other side. Bring the panel down, flip out this back panel, and you can kind of squeeze the panels to give them a bit more, just a bit more stature, but let's see, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We've got halfway done, now we just need to do the arms. Now the arms are the simplest part, but they do have some pretty cool tricks here and there. Now, this whole crane section here is actually going to turn into his weapon. So you're going to swing this whole bit around and then straighten out this section here, and this will just fit over this. Now, the way I do this is straighten this or angle this so you can just collapse this in the way so it's sitting flush. And then it just kind of, not really soft pegs, but just keeps itself in place. Let's see. Let's just bring him up the way. You're going to want to unpeg this gun from his hand here and just bring these bits down. Flip these little panels back. And you're going to want to just accordion this arm out the way and it will rest in place. Flip this panel to reveal his arm. Same process. Collapse this inward, flip this little steel panel, and straighten out the head. And there you have Autobot Longarm in his robot mode. And I think this guy's really cool. He's got a lot of really nice beats to him. The way his colour is broken up by these little taps of silver, and his massive Quagma cannon, I think it's called. Though this cannon, as I mentioned before, is the main problem that people have with this figure, myself included. I don't hate it, don't get me wrong, but it does affect opposability. Plus, the problem is he can't actually get rid of it because it is screwed into his hand. I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty much screwed in around this section here. You might not be able to see, so you can't get rid of it unless you screwed it out or unscrewed it. But it's big enough that you can pull off gun wielding poses. Now many Transformers figures just can't do that. Their arms are too short and the guns, pardon me, hiccups, the guns are just too small to actually have them wielding them over the shoulder. But Longarm though can actually pull these poses off because the gun can rotate. You can see the hand is on a ball joint, so you can bring it up and have him wielding his gun, almost like a sniper rifle, which leads to some pretty cool action poses. But enough about the vehicle imposability, or accessory imposability, because we'll talk about the detailing of the figure. Longarm's got some really nice detailing, especially his head. Got a nice painted white head with some mechanical detail and some beautiful orange light piping. It gives him a very strong presence. Little Autobot symbol there painted on his forehead. I love the way his head's broken up. It almost looks like he's wearing a stormtrooper mask. I mean, he has a drone in the games, but this character actually has a unique bio, which characterizes him as a sort of handyman, a friend of all who sees helping others as the greatest thing that one can do, and that's why he's an Autobot. He's got some really nice detailing. I just love the way this guy looks. He's very distinctly movie one in terms of his engineering, but he also looks like he could fit in the movies while also in a different line. I don't know how to describe it. He just looks really cool. Now, Longarm's posability is interesting. The arm itself can rotate a good bit, and up the way that bit, though it collapses or kind of clashes with the door. The gun as you can see here, screwed in, so you can rotate the arm and have him sort of tilting his wrist. The head itself is on a, I think it's, yep, head is on a ball joint, so you've got side to side, a little bit of wiggly waggly, can look up that far and down that far. Arm itself, the hand can actually rotate, though it's a little bit stiff on my copy. Bicep can bend about that much. Same goes for this one, though you can have to factor in the gun just being so astronomically huge, it just clashes with his chest piece. Kind of weighs him down a bit. It's a bit too heavy for the figure, but then again, I could attribute it to being an older figure. Legs can on a ball joint, so they can go out that far. They can kick in that far for transformation. The feet itself can go down, up, around. You can flip the you can flip the toe, the heel spur, and give them a sort of either a flatter foot look, or you can have it be a bit more angled. But I feel like the flatter look gives him a bit more stability. He looks more robust, almost like an Autobot shock trooper. And that's the vibe I get from this guy. He's got a very strong design where he's simple and he's generic enough so that he can pass as a drone, but he's also unique enough in that he could easily be his own standout character. So that's about it for the robot mode, and like I said before, it's brought down a little by the gun, but the toy itself is well worth your time and is quite fun. It's simple to transform, the features are pretty cool, and you can get some pretty decent action poses out of him, mostly thanks to his giant gun. So let's transform Longarm back into his vehicle mode. So first just collapse the arm in the way and flip this little steel paneling up the way. I also love how the detailing carries over to his chest, giving him a sort of, you would think, oh, the panels have shifted down and then transformed around his chest. Flip that in, and there's a little tab right here on the barrel of the gun, or on the body of the gun. They'll just peg into his hands. It'll just clasp together like he's clapping his hands. Alright, so what now? Just bring this up, and these panels will sort of just flip them down, and you can see there's little tabs and slots where they fit into. Right here, you can do a bit of adjusting if it gets a bit, sometimes it can be just a little bit finicky. And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You can take this whole barrel portion of the gun with the missile and flip this in. The missile itself can launch, though I've neglected to show it as I don't want to lose the missile, plus it might not be too relaxing to hear a missile clattering about the table. These panels you're just going to want to bring out, flip out these little bumper pieces. That one's a bit difficult, so just flatten these out. Yeah, that's for some reason it's just that one panel there that just gives me a little bit of bother. And just sort of collapse that in the way. It helps whenever you'll want to bring this whole section here with the black section and the roof, the little light bar, bring that down so that gives you the clearance to close over the bumper section, which adds a lot of stability to these little pieces here, allowing you to effectively close them over. So just flip down the light bar. Now it kind of has a bit of automorph there because of the gear system. You bring that down there, it just sort of unfurls itself or collapses in when you want it. Bring this crane section up so that little hydraulic is exposed. Bring this down, straighten out the crane with the tow hook, and we'll flip in these heels, collapse these so they sort of fold over like this, though we're not gonna completely tap them or fold them in just yet because we need it for the transformation. So what you're gonna want to do is collapse these in. You can see there's a little knee joint that you can just sort of bring this in. collapse it in the way and it will sort of rest in place. Do the same on the other side, just bring that in. Now you could tap them together, which I'll actually do that now just to make it a bit more, convenient, because it can be a little bit messy, but it's never frustrating. It's never gets to the point where you want to throw the figure across the room, like say, or Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster. Let's see, just collapse this little bit in. It's not in all the way that it needs to be. Almost got it. If I could just get this to come in. Oh, I see the problem. This little toe piece wasn't flipped in all the way. It was clashing there. So, yes, there we go. Look at that. Nice and clean. Just collapse that in. Have it sitting flush with the bumper. Take these door panels and just tap them in. Make sure everything is sitting flush here so it can fit in accordingly. It's very nice noises whenever you attach everything to place. And there you have Longarm back in his tow truck mode. Overall, a really good figure. It has its flaws, namely the gun being irremovable unless you unscrew it, effectively sabotaging the main play feature of the figure. But for all its flaw, or its single major flaw, it's still a solid toy and one that I wholeheartedly recommend, especially if you can get them for cheap. Say if you find them for 10 to 15 pounds, I'd say 20 at most, especially because he only comes with this one weapon here, so he's not particularly, I wouldn't imagine he's particularly hard to find or rare, but some of the drone characters that I've seen, they do tend to go for a bit of a high price. So if you can find him for a reasonable price, definitely pick him up. He gets my recommendation. Well, I think that about does it for this video. Stay tuned, as tomorrow I'll be uploading Transformers the Game ASMR Part 2. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. So, as always, leave a like, comment, let me know if you want to see different kinds of content, what figures you'd like to see next, or just leave a comment talking about the video. At the end of the day, you guys are part of what makes this show tick for me. So, that about does it for this video. This was the Transformers 2007 movie, Deluxe Class, Autobot, Longarm. And this is Autobot ASMR, signing off for the night. Autobots, transform and roll out to bed. Till all are one.